Upon receiving your machine from Elgra, the first thing you want to turn around and do is check the packaging, make sure there's no damage to it, check the packing slip, make sure everything that you've purchased is actually on the pallet and not missing. If it is, the first thing you need to turn and do is go and ring Elgra and notify them that there are parts missing or there's parts damaged. Your packing slip is always located on the machine. It'll either be on either side of the machine there in full view. This is where you can try and take the packaging out, undo the slip of itself, and you'll be able to try and read what your machine actually contains. All care is taken by our transport companies, but at times there's always the possibility that an accident can happen. The hoses are underneath here. They can try and be pinched when being loaded or unloaded from the truck. So it's always a good thing there to try and make sure that if there's been damage to the packaging, lift it up and have a quick visual check before you try and take possession from the transport company. Once it leaves the transport company and you've taken possession, the transport company there, it makes it a little bit harder for Elgra there to try and go and get the warranty on it, because you've turned and said that the machine was fine when you picked it up. Once you've unwrapped your machine, the first thing you need to try and do is grab hold of the manual out of the machine, unscrew it, make sure that inside there you got your warranty manual, your level bubble and your levers for the machine. If they're not, the first thing you need to try and do is contact Elgra and get that part there sent through to you there straight away. They can email it, it can be turned done by post. Once that's turned done, you'll turn around after all the wrappings off again. You can turn around and walk around and have a visual check of all the hoses, the ones on the main lift cylinder, to make sure that they're tight. The circuits on the main lift cylinder, that they're there. You've got your swing around ram on your auger. These fittings here, because the ram sits up a little bit higher, these ones here are a little bit more prone to being knocked in transit at times, so we need to make sure that they're tight. Here's your top link or your third arm ram to ensure that the little R clips haven't been popped off in transit. Same as the ones at the bottom, make sure that they're securely on the machine. Make sure that these fittings are tight as well. You've then got your east-west ram. It's got the same clips. The one on the top is easy to see, but the one underneath is a little bit more, it's a little bit harder to turn and see, so you need to try and make sure that clip is on there also. Your 2-point linkage pins, make sure that they're in the machine. You've got a pin in the bottom of the machine there which raises and lowers the carriage. This one here, you're not going to be able to turn and see the circlips on both sides. From one side you'll have to look on either side of the machine, which you'll be able to turn and see clearly the circlip is on there. The main lift cylinder, which is located in between the two rails that raises and lowers the power cell. There's another circlip in the base of the machine. There's a circlip on either side. Once again, you need to make sure that they're both on there and they're secure. Once your 89 series has been checked over and all the hoses are all tight, on the manifold here they've all been checked, that's when you can then turn around and you can go along and cut your straps. There's 4 straps in the machines as a rule to turn and secure it to the pallet. And once you've done that there, you need to turn around and you might have a front end loader, a forklift or an overhead crane to secure the machine to turn raise into the vertical position, so then you can turn around and back your tractor into it and hook it up to the 3-point linkage. Your lifting apparatus on these machines is located at the top of the unit. And the base of the machine here, you've got your manifold, which does all your controls of the machine for your east, west, your north, south, and your auger device. On here, you'll see clearly labelled. You've got the blue on the tape on the machine, which clearly means that this is your return back to the tractor. On the other end of the manifold, it's got red tape on it there. That's your power or your flow into the machine. On the other end of the hose, it's also got the same collar coating there, which lets you know which one to turn plug into what on your tractor. Once your machine's you've got your straps undone off your machine, your lifting part of the machine, you'll clearly put a lifting strap around this part of the framework. It'll go underneath and back up through here. If you put your strap around this part of the main frame of the machine there, you run the risk of bending this part of the framework, and you don't want to turn to that there. So your strap will come around the 2 pieces of RHS up inside here to secure. The right place to turn and place the strap there for lifting your Elgra machine into the vertical position. Bring your strap underneath the 2 rails and up over the top and through the main plate. That way there now, when you go to lift, it'll lift against the bottom part of the plate, which is not going to cause any damage. And once it's into the correct position, the vertical position there, you're then able to turn back your tractor and hook up your 3-point linkage. In this part of the machine, we've now got the machine, or the 89 series, stood in the vertical position. The feet have been placed securely on the ground. Make sure at no time that you place yourself in danger, as in between the rear of the tractor and this part of the main part of the machine. Always make sure you're standing clear there so you can get away from the danger part. This part here, we're going to turn around and hook up the lower 2-point linkage points of the machine. Once they're done and we've got our linch pins placed in position, we'll then turn and go and hook up the third arm ram. But to turn and extend the third arm ram out, we'll have to turn first to go and hook up the main feed and the return line back into the tractor, and then activate the remotes of the tractor. Then we're able to turn and go and extend the third arm out and put the third arm pin into the machine, which will then secure the 3 points. On this part of the machine, you've got your 2 hoses. One's a feed and one's your return. They're clearly identified by red and blue. Red being the power, blue being the return. Make sure that you turn around, you activate your remote in your tractor the correct way. If you feed the flow through the wrong way through the machine, it will not work. If you're unsure of which way the flow goes in your tractor, the easiest way, connect up your red one, get your blue one and feed it back into the tank of your tractor, activate your remotes, and if the oil's coming out of the hose, you know that's the way that your remote lever is to go into position. If no oil is flowing, activate your remote lever the other way. That is the easiest way, instead of hooking them up and just activating the levers. Now that your hydraulic lines are connected, you've got your tractor started, you've got the flow going the correct way through the machine, you're now able to turn and get the manifold and able to extend your third arm ram out to place your pin into the machine. Once that's done, your linch pin's on, the machine is then secure because you've already got your 2-point linkage pins connected to the machine. Your linch pins are all in. Once again, walk around, a visual check to make sure the little R clips or the A clips are on the points where the ram actually connects to the machine, because in the process of standing the machine you may have connected one of them and it may have been dislodged from the machine. This is your 2-point linkage of the Elgra 89 series percussion driver. You've got one of these either side of the machine. When you're hooking these up there, you may be able to turn around and go and extend your 2-point linkage arms out to connect up into the machine a lot easier, instead of trying to shift out of the main machine itself. There's one of these located on either side of the machine. Make sure that the linch pin is securely positioned so it does not come off. Now that we've got the oil going the correct way through the machine, and your top link and your 3-point linkage and everything else is securely on the machine, we can now turn and set up the levers into the control valve or the directional controls. I find that the levers are set up as I've got here now, but it comes down to individual choice. But in this part here, you'll find that your hammer lever that activates the power cell to fire, you need the lever beside there which activates the power cell to hold pressure on the post at all given times when it's going into the ground. Your next 2 levers there is one for your auger motor rotation and the auger feed up and down. Those pair need to be used in conjunction once again. Your next one there is your auger swing. It's only a single valve operation there, so it's all by itself. Your next one is your top link and then your side tilt of the machine. The hammer lever and the cell retract lever need to be in conjunction with each other, because you need to use the pair of these at the same time. The ones beside it there is your auger motor rotation and your auger feed up and down. Those pair need to also be together there, because you use them in conjunction with each other. As it's drilling, you'll hold pressure on the auger as it goes into the ground. The one beside it there, which is the auger swing, that one there is a single action, so it's only by itself. Your top link again is by itself. Your side tilt is also by its lonesome. We're now going to turn and set up the pressure reducing valve. This part here is designed to turn and hold a constant pressure on the power cell onto the timber. Because the main lift cylinder that raises and lowers the power cell is a double acting cylinder. We therefore have to try and go and put a pressure reducing valve or a release valve in the main machine. This enables us to turn around and hold the whole weight of the machine on the post. To do this, you'll raise the machine up, you'll put a post underneath it, you'll activate the lever to retract while your tractor is running. Your pressure reducing valve is located at the front of the machine. You'll undo the lock nut and you'll turn the screw in a clockwise motion. You'll continue to wind it in until such time as the stabiliser feet of the machine start to come off the ground. Once you let go of the lever there for retracting the power cell, you'll raise it up off the timber. You'll get the pressure reducing valve and you'll back it off a quarter of a turn. You'll get the retract lever for the power cell. You'll activate it again. You'll bring the cell down onto the timber. If the feet of the stabiliser feet there continue to come off the ground, let go of the lever, raise the power cell up off the timber, get the pressure reducing valve and back it off another quarter of a turn. Retract the lever again to pull the cell down onto the timber until such time as the stabiliser feet, are trying to get off the ground but just can't quite make it. If that's the case, the pressure is set. Do up the lock nut and that's it. On the Corel percussion driver there's only 3 greasing points. One's at the back of the power cell that greases the main part of the anvil. Once it is loaded with grease, you grease the machine approximately every 30 to 35 hours of use, and you use a good quality grease on these machines. The other 2 points of greasing on the Corel percussion driver is your auger motor bearings. They'll be greased every 3 months because they're a sealed bearing and they're not a high spinning bearing at that time. We're now going to run through the functions of the machine, as in the top link, the side tilt, the auger swing, the auger up and down, the motor rotation, the cell up and down and the power cell, to make sure that they're running in the correct way. As in example, you don't want to pull this lever towards you and have the power cell go up. You need to make sure that they work in the way that we've actually they've been worded on the control panel.